Welcome to today's webinar, Transforming MEP Modeling and MSUITE Hangers. This webinar is brought to you by Graitec. My name is Misty Scott and I am pleased to be your moderator today. As a reminder, you can find a schedule of upcoming events, webinars, and training on our calendar at asti.com/calendar. All right, before we dive in, we'd love to learn more about how we can best support you and your businesses. So if you can take a moment to answer the poll questions on the right-hand side of the screen, it would help us learn how we can best serve you. We are also excited to offer you a free demo of MSUITE. You can scan the QR code on the screen, but don't worry, I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. And at the end, I'm going to put it on the screen, and you could just click the button at the end during the Q&A. All right, very pleased to introduce our expert today. Michael is a product manager and expert in BIM and MEP construction technology. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michael. We've also got Jimbo here. He's going to help field any questions for us. These guys are awesome, and I'm going to turn it right over to you. Okay, Michael?
Right on, everyone. How are we doing, everyone? My name is Michael Shin. I'm the product manager for MSUITE BIM, bringing in about, I think it's 25 years now in the CAD, Revit, BIM world that we've all been living in. So I've been here at MSUITE or DeWalt for about 3 years now, building the MSUITE BIM plugin, which is focusing on your MEP trades for helping you guys do your spooling, do your hanger placement, and then also sending that data to our fabrication software where you can then manage your fabrication shop and get that to the field and install that. Before coming here, I was the product manager of Evolve MEP. I was heavily involved in the electrical aspect of building that feature or that functionality on that end. Before that, I was the product manager of Siskiyou for about 2 years, 2018 to 2020 or so. On that side, really helped try to build that product and trying to grow where that was. Before that, I had my own company called Escher Built, where was about 10 years of being basically providing BIM coordination services and for companies that outsource to us, and we would do all the different modeling services. So I've bought every single possible Revit plugin there possibly could be in the world, from Siskiyou to everything that's out there. And before that, I was in California being a Revit MEP specialist for US CAD, and before that, I was from New York doing a lot of BIM and AutoCAD stuff and modeling back then in the early 2000s. So today we're going to do a deep dive into the new hanger software that we've built. So hangers are traditionally almost like a burden a bit on some of the modeling scenarios. It is costs about 5% of the revenue or the cost of a project for a contractor, but it's about 25, maybe even more percentage of the amount of time to actually build and actually draw in and put in all those hangers. So that number is way off. It's pretty wild. It is time consuming. It takes forever sometimes to do it. And no one's really took the time, I feel, to really figure out how to do a hanger software correctly. Everyone's just been kind of just building a family or building a plugin that would just, we arrayed some hangers down along a run and then they placed those hangers. But before we dove into it and started building this application, we started interviewing a lot of our different customers. What is it that the industry wants from a hanger application? It's pretty complex when you start diving down that rabbit hole. We want to be able to quickly and accurately place your hangers. Basically, I want to have a set of rules. I want those clevis hangers placed along that run based on my rules and be able to make sure that they're being placed correctly. I want my single rod hangers. I also want to solve the multi-tier trapeze issue that takes place in the industry. If you're a fabrication ITM user, it's very difficult. It's almost impossible to do trapeze hangers. Yeah, you're doing like multiple different stacking of trapeze ITMs. It's difficult. The other major issue that I spoke a few seconds ago about is the simultaneous hanger MEP modeling, which is the timeline. When are hangers typically placed in your project? Typically, they're being placed when you've basically, the area, that scenario is basically coordinated. Nothing's really going to be moving that much more. Then you're really going to start putting your hangers in. You might start putting in some of your trapeze or so-and-so in certain spots just to try to fill up space in your project, but you're really not really putting them in that much earlier. So we wanted to solve that timeline, allow you to start placing hangers earlier. How do you do that? We need to make them reactive and smart. So as things and pipes and ducts are moving around, I need my hangers to come along for the ride. I don't need to constantly be deleting those hangers rerunning another rule to now place new hangers. I want them moving along for me. And I also want automatic hanger placement and adjustment. I need a full bill of material. I need to be able to do all the different naming of these different type of hangers. I want to see a full schedule of all the parts and pieces and all the different Revit share parameters. We got to export the field points. I got to name all the different points, point 1, point 2, rod 1, rod 3. I got to control my upper attachments. Are you talking to, is it a bang it? Are you talking to structural steel? Does it need to be a beam clamp? Then there's a big trend on supplemental steel that's taking place in the industry. Typically, it's only the top floor that needs supplemental steel. But now a lot of contractors are saying that all the floors on the building, a lot of that concrete isn't even designed to handle the weight of the MEP trade. So they're putting in more steel going across. I spoke before about hanger systems. You need to have a full standardized system and actually a full array of different types of content that's out there. And then you dive down the real rabbit hole of the hanger rules. This is where it gets pretty complex, but you need to be able to simplify it so that it's easy to actually set your rules so that we know that when it's this type of system, this type of pipe or copper material size, it's placing the right hanger for you. And we want to eliminate any user errors, so let's try to make this as automatic as possible. So these hangers get pretty complex. We're also looking on our roadmap for this year. We're also looking into, we need to do seismic placing. We want to have point loads. Well, we're going to be doing point loads at some time, but you can see when we start diving into this demo today, you'll see how we architectured this product to, in the future, to be able to actually do accurate point loads. And then we also want to have automatic hanger clash detection and avoidance. I'll show you how, yes, you can manually move stuff around and manually adjust your hangers, but I want to get it to where we can actually help guide you and help automate the hanger avoidance stuff. So I spoke earlier about families or ITMs. When we go to build this product, what should the content that we should use? So families are cool. They got a lot of crazy functionality and flexibility to them. ITMs, I really like how they move. They're kind of reactive as you move stuff around, but it's missing the upper attachment. It's missing other things. So which one should we do? So we questioned it. Is there another way of doing it? So we dove into the Revit API and we found out something pretty cool. Has anyone heard the rumor about what we did and what we found out, or what is the type of content that we had? I'll wait 5 seconds and see if anyone in the chat can put it in. Jimbo, let me know if anyone messages in there and knows what we did with what content type that we uncovered. This content type is going to change the industry. No one I've seen actually has been using it. We presented this at AU back in, was it October? And Autodesk was even talking to us like, what did you guys do? That's pretty cool. No one, Jimbo? Yeah.
No one yet.
Let's see. Direct shape. So in the Revit API, there's a thing called a direct shape. What that does, where'd my slide go? Oh, I guess I don't have that slide open, sorry. Well, what a direct shape is, what it allowed the users to do, instead of, it's actually, Autodesk invented it as the idea to be able to bring in any 3D object from any other CAD software and be able to bring that into Revit as a static object. Well, if it's going to be static, how do I then get it to flex and move around? That's where we did the little, all right, challenge accepted. Let's dive down this rabbit hole. So a direct shape is coded 3D content outside of Revit, and then we're telling Revit how to render and display what that object is. So what it does is it basically tells Revit, don't think. We're going to tell you how to make this object look and where you should be placed. Whereas a family, we have to then move the object or stretch the trapeze. Revit has to then do all this crazy math to figure out what is the length and what dimensions it's all pushing, which causes the spinning wheel, and you're waiting for your model to update when you're trying to move stuff around. Direct shape, we're telling Revit, don't think, we're going to think for you. Just render that object there. So enough slides, let's dive right into it. So this is my simple little model we have here. We've been testing this software with gigabyte size Revit models from our customers. Thank you for anyone that's on the call that has provided those models to us. We've really worked hard on, in order for this to be reactive, it has to be fast and easy to work with. So let's do, the whole brains of the operation here is going to be the hanger rules. You can fully customize all the rules that you want. Simply hit the plus button here. give it a simple name, hit the little expansion button. All right, what Revit category are you working with? Is it fabrication ductwork, fabrication piping, or is it regular duct, pipe, cable trays, and pipes? Basically, are you using more like a SysQ type of scenario? But these are your standard system Revit system categories. Today, let's work with pipe work. Cool, pipe work. The fabrication service is now dropping down and showing you all the available services and systems that you might have loaded into this project. Pick onto which one you want to work with. All right, this is going to be chilled water supply, return. You can actually add multiple on here. This is then showing all the available different materials that are in that service. Let's build a rule for our copper. Hit the plus button. All right, so let's work with a 1/2 inch pipe. Well, actually 1/2 inch up to maybe 3/4 is going to be kind of the same rule. So for a single rod hanger, I want to have a band hanger. What size rod? I want it to be 3/8. Do I need to pay attention to insulation or not? Yeah. I want you to adjust to the insulation size. Now getting into my hanger spacing for that size pipe range. All right, what's my spacing? All right, I want them every 6 feet. If I see a T, do I want to put a hanger before and after a T? If there's a tap along the run, do I want to put a hanger before and after? And I can say, no, ignore that. Start of my run or an elbow, how far I want them off from an elbow, at the end of a cap, a transition. If there's unions or couplings along a run, do I want to put a hanger before and after that? No, ignore those. When I hit a piece of equipment, how far off do I want that? So there's one example of a rule. Now let's do another size range. Let's do for 1 inch, and you can do another one from 1.25 up to 1.5. We can then do your adjustable swivel, you want your band, you want a clevis with a shield, a J hanger, or a pipe roller. Fully customize exactly how you want your hangers to be. So this is for copper. Let's hit another plus button here, and then now let's make another sub rule in here for basically a sub material rule. And let's now focus on carbon steel. So you see where we're going with this. You have full customization of these hangers and these rules. Let me expand open one here for an example of a chilled water supply return, heating hot water. Basically, it's your carbon steel or cast iron, and as well as your copper as an example. So here's your single rod hangers, full control of what hanger, what rod, and the spacing that you want it to. Hit the little button here for trapeze. Now it's the same thing, but now we're dealing with the trapeze hangers. Same range, you can fully control. These are actually different scenarios, so you can fully control different rules for your trapeze. And then what is your trapeze type? Is it a strut? Is it double strut or angle iron? So let's work with, it's going to be strut. What size strut is it? 3/16, inch and 5/8, or do I want a double for a back-to-back? Here's something that no one else is doing in the industry that I've seen. Automatically placing of your pipe clamps onto those hangers. And when those get placed, I don't want them to be just floating around. When I move those pipes around, I also want those pipe clamps to be smart and reactive with them. What size hanger do you want? Insulation, rod offset, which is the center of the rod to the face of the pipe or that piece of duct, how far off that little spacing is going to be. And again, all of your same rules. What is the spacing of those hangers? We also have further downstream here with your trapeze, what's the max overall width that you want a trapeze to be? What is the max horizontal spacing between pipes before it makes a new trapeze? And what is the max vertical spacing before it makes a new tier? So with these rules, it's basically set it and forget it type of concept here. Just be able to set your rules, and that's it. We've actually had feedback from a lot of our customers of, can we make that permission based so our head project manager can control those and the detailers can adjust that. So we got a little simple model here. I'm going to go ahead and go to a more simple view here, and I'm going to simply just turn off some of the duct work in here and make our view just a little bit cleaner. And we'll just get rid of the flex ducts and those air terminals. And I turned off a little bit too much. We'll keep the pipe back on. Cool. So let's just work with some piping systems here. Here's all of our commands. I want to place, is it a single rod? Is it a trapeze? Or this button here is for our duct hangers. Duct hangers allow for square to round to oval, so it's a combination of the two. Let's just work with single rod hangers. Simply grab a couple of elements that you want to place some single rod hangers on, click finish. It automatically recognizes here, based on your selection, what rule is associated to those pipes. I don't want to have to go back and select those rules and have a user error there. Placement method. Let's just do the straight run, which is going to be this entire run right along here. Entire run, we'll do the entire run along here. Let's just do straight run. Nearest structure, what are we going up to? So nearest structure is looking at floors, roofs, and structural framing like I-beams. We also have the ability to do your linked models, what's your level above, as well as your reference plane. This is our first version of this the software. We just released this with 8.0. We have a very aggressive roadmap for this year with a lot more enhancements and a lot more customization and control coming out soon with what structural elements you can actually talk to. So I avoid this beam or talk to this structure. Don't talk to that concrete. It's a lot more stuff is coming. And then simply just click apply. The idea of this is, as you see, as you start going through this, it's just basically select your elements and click apply. That was 30 hangers. We're sharing our screen, which always affects placement of stuff or in Revit. It averages, I think it's 0.08 seconds. I think it's what we're averaging with our hanger placement. It's some ridiculously fast number. And then all you got to do is just Windows select, I click finish and apply. It remembers your previous settings. And there's not really that too many settings that you need to change. Yeah, I want to do that straight run. Let's go ahead and place those hangers again. I want to place a hanger on these pipes. Go ahead, click finish and apply. It's basically the pipe I selected, turn hangers on for that. Wonderful. Oh, let's do one more down here. Let's go ahead and hit that, click finish and hit apply. So a lot of us all have seen hanger placement tools in the industry where, cool, they've placed hangers and everything. But what happens is well, this pipe here, I got to move this pipe over to there. Before I've even dragged and moved this pipe over, you can see Revit's already given me a warning message because it doesn't know how to flip this elbow to the other side. And also, well, I need all those hangers to move. Wait, it just did that in like a second. Yeah, because these are not families, they're not ITMs. We're controlling Revit on how fast we want it and what we want it to do. And it's also moving and adjusting elements for you. So as you're moving, it's automatically updating your system. As we go through this, there's a lot of other stuff this thing is also doing. The idea is I want to be able to place hangers and basically don't be afraid to actually, as I'm drawing, be able to have hangers get placed. If you were to actually draw off of a run of pipe here, I click, cool, let's just draw some pipe. It's going to keep drawing hangers along that run for me. Even if I zigzag and keep moving stuff. So it makes it a lot easier. So now as I'm working, I am now placing hangers in my model. To me, this is the game changer in the industry for hanger placement. It has been a nightmare to be able to place hangers and know that if I want to move a pipe around or make any adjustments, everyone is used to these error messages and these warnings popping up. It also doesn't matter if you have any couplings or welds along a run. We actually solve that for you as well. So I move this over. Well, what's going to happen here? Normally Revit will give you a warning message. No, we're suppressing that warning message and we're fixing those connections. All this adds up over time and it's within seconds you're able to now make and adjust your hangers. Well, what if this pipe here, which is currently at an elevation of 11'2", actually let's take both of these. They're at 11'2". Let's for fun drop these down to 8 feet. Well, what's going to happen? Well, we're kind of used to this already with, if you're working with ITMs, they'll drop and move down. Well, we took the best stuff from ITMs and we introduced it into our software. So it just did that entire run. Let's do that again. Click onto it. Let's move these back up to 10 feet. Slight spin in the wheel. That's going to modify and update. What is that? Probably almost upwards of like 60 hangers or so is going to update. Done. It's also named all the hangers too. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But again, I want to be able to move this run over. Oh, there's an issue. We got to move this over 3 feet to the left. Normally that would have been delete the hangers, or I would have had to rerun the hanger rule down here. It's going to know to add in more hangers down here. Major time saving on this. Jimbo, question?
How do we know how does it know where to go after an offset or after a transition? Where are we setting that up in the rules?
Yeah, so the transition here, you're referring to this, what hanger to go to, or is it the movement of the object of the stuff?
How to place far off to place that hanger.
Oh, gotcha.
Inside
Yeah,
of our
in the hanger rules, Yep, that's this button here, right here, sir. So that's for single rod hangers as well as trapeze is right here. So for when I see a so each of these are different types of elements along that run. So if I see a transition or a reducer, before and after, I just threw in some rules here. Yeah, I want one 2 feet or 1'6" based on the size and whatever along there. Same thing here. If I were to also take this, let's go to here, right click, multi-point routing. It's at 8. Now let's drop down to a 6. Cool. And now let's keep drawing. And I can keep drawing and then simply be able to click on and say, all right, well, I want to say hangers turn on. Done. 11 hangers added. Move this over. Cool. Coordination. Ready to go. So there's you can see the concept here with your single rod hangers. We have next let's dive into the trapeze hangers. Well, I want to be able to place some trapeze along this run here. Let's just grab those in this scenario here. I'll click finish. Again, it recognizes all the systems that are part of that group. So this is my chilled water supply, heating hot water return run as an example. Think of these rules as like you can make super rules. So if like chilled water supply, heating hot water, all of those are all carbon steel, copper, all kind of within the same material types and everything. That then allows you to basically make a super rule that will contain all of the different scenarios for that. I hear some keyboard clicking in the background. Make sure there's guys are on mute. Cool. I simply just click apply. And within, again, a couple of seconds here, it's going to automatically place those hangers. I know you guys are thinking, this is a demo model. I don't like doing light and camera shows. This is the speed that it is on a gigabyte size model with multiple different trades that are in there. Revit, basically think of this, Revit, it's not thinking anymore. We're literally telling Revit how to think, just render and produce that 3D object in that space. The level of detail of these is always a concern too. So if I click onto this, notice that when I orbit and move around, Revit handles the direct shape very clean and easy, as opposed to a family, it kind of flickers sometimes as you move around. We've seen very, very minimal file size bloat and rendering size float. All Revit has to do, it knows what it looks like. It has to easily render that object. It's a huge game changer to the industry with this type of contents. Now with the trapeze, I want to be able to take this run of hangers. I need to move you over to here. Same concept. I want to move and drag that over. I want those hangers to also come along for the ride. Remember what it's doing here too. It's not only moving them, it's also talking to the structure above. As you can see here, if I were to switch, you can see, well, what is it doing here? It's doing a welded connection. Why is it doing a welded connection? Well, if I expand this, it's actually talking to the beam above. How does it know what to do in that scenario? We have our hanger settings here. Hanger settings allows you to control your automatic beam detection settings. So if it detects a beam, do I want to always just do a beam clamp, always do a welded connection, or do automated detection, where if it's going to recognize there's a little tolerance we set in here for the corner of an I-beam, and if it goes 1 inch more underneath the beam, it's then going to switch to a beam clamp. And then once it gets closer to that corner, by within 1 inch of that tolerance, it'll then switch to a beam clamp. Same thing for your beam detection tolerance. If a rod is within a certain distance away from a beam, I want you to automatically go and grab and connect to that structure. So I can say, hey, if it's within 6 inches of a beam, automatically go and connect to that. I'll show you some more commands that we have to even manually be able to control that stuff that's on there. Another problem is that usually, well, I don't like placing trapeze because I also have to be able to adjust and move things around. Well, I want to take these two pipes and I want to drop them down to maybe 10'6" for whatever. I need to drop them down for whatever reason and for a coordination purpose. Well, then I want all the hangers to update to be a multi-tier rack. If I were to move that pipe over, I want those hangers to also update. Again, you see it's a slight spinning wheel just for about 3 seconds or so, but the amount of changes and updates that it's doing behind the scene completely outweigh the actual time that it would do to do that manually. Get ready for when I show you the hanger manager with all it's naming every one of these based on specific rules. So that's where it's that little spinning wheel. It's checking and making sure the names are right. I'll show you that in a little bit. Well, what if we also had another scenario where, well, I need, let's say we drew in 2 more pipes along this run, and I want these pipes added to that run. Here's where we have these commands here. This is the associate hangers. So I want to add more hangers to it. Every single hanger knows what every single pipe it's talking to. So if I click onto one hanger, it knows that whole run is holding up all of that. I click next. I want to add this pipe and this pipe to that run. Click finish. Slight little spinning wheel, no problem. All those hangers are now being updated. I can then take these hangers here. I can actually take this and drag this one back. What happens to that hanger? I want that up to date. If I were to move this one over to here, what happens there? That hanger updates. Same thing downstream is if we have, let me get rid of this out of the way here. By the way, yeah, notice that this has got hangers on it, and you delete the pipe, the hanger should delete. If it's fabrication parts or regular families, that content still would have been laying there. You would have had, was it like not model bloat? It's just model junk, as they kind of call it in the industry. So every hanger knows that every pipe it's associated with. So if I delete that pipe, I want those hangers to also be deleted as well. Let's quickly add in, as we have a little branch here, let's go in and add in some single rod hangers going across here. Cool. Well, I need this branch moved over because that's going into a bathroom. I need to move that over to here. Well, then I want these trapeze to also update. Again, another major time saver. I want to move this back over to about there. I want those trapeze. Again, remember I showed you a few minutes ago, every hanger knows what it's associated with. So I'll click onto one of these hangers. That whole run knows it's all associated together. Well, now what if we go back down here? I want this and this to be removed from that run. The command right above that is disassociate from it. Click onto it, hit next. What pipes do I want to remove? Remove those from my run. Now those can be easily moved and adjusted wherever I want. Then I put their own hangers onto it. So it's not fully automatic. It's semi-autonomous is what I'm trying to solve for you guys or help you with. I want to give you as much control to help you automate all those steps that you're working with. Going back to the structural stuff as well, which is also very similar to these commands. Let's say, actually, let's do this. Let's be a structural engineer for a second. Let's just move some steel over. Wouldn't it be great? We can just do that. I want that steel being around about there. Well, I want this run of hangers. I want this run of hangers here to be connected to that structure. How do I do that? Well, we can go through the process and move stuff around and stuff, but I want to use this command here, attach hangers to beams. Click onto one hanger. Again, it grabs that whole run. I click next, select the beam, and it's going to automatically go and reach and connect all of those together to that. We got some more improvements coming on with our next release about controlling which side of the beam it actually goes to as well, coming out soon. So real easy being able to go connect to that structure. If I want to disassociate from that structure, click onto one of those hangers. It grabs the whole run. I click finish. It now disassociates that, and it goes back to its default state, which is set, again, it's set back within those rules. We hit undo, put our screen back to where it was. So again, you can add this. I want this run. Click next. I want you attached to that structure. That works. Remember, we're not limiting this to just the steel that's drawn in your model. So you can do your supplemental steel, draw that across, and connect to it. This also works with your linked models. Cool. Moving along here. We also have full control over the spacing of your hangers. Notice that when I was placing those hangers, when I clicked onto place a hanger, there was an option down here for spacing options, and there's fixed, balanced, or equal. I'm going to go down with you guys and show you how this actually works. So if we were to move this over, let's set up that scenario where you'll see that extra one that's in there. Cool. Edit spacing. Click onto that one hanger. I click next. It's now showing me it was doing equal spacing. Let's put it to fixed spacing. I click apply. What fixed spacing will do, let's make this a little bit more accurate here. Perfect. So now when we move this over, it's usually always that last hanger. There it is, exactly. It's this hanger here. What do we do with this hanger? Because it followed the rule. 2 feet off of this, was it every 6 feet, 6 feet? But then this one was supposed to be 2 feet off of that one, and now you have this one that's kind of this floating here. If I click onto that hanger or that pipe, that's fixed spacing, which follows the rule. Balance is going to take this random one and put it in between the last one and the third one. Again, you can see how that bounces those around. The one that I really like is equal spacing. We know we need 4. We know that this one needs to stay here 2 feet away. That needs to stay 2 feet away. But put them all at an equal distance apart along that run. So it's not exceeding the maximum spacing, but it's just figuring out this is what, 4 feet or something, whatever along that run. So that's what I've been running with all of these by default, and that's just set here when you go to hit place your hanger. What's your spacing option? Cool. And you can easily adjust that later. I spoke earlier about the hanger information or the hanger data. Oh, wait a second, Jimbo, we skipped a big one that I always like to show off here. We need to customize this hanger a bit. Well, we do have our properties here. So if I click onto that hanger, we have all of these shared parameters that you can easily customize and create your own schedule with. But what we also done is we made our own properties window, which we'll be continuing to advance on this. Near a structure, I can fully adjust that hanger, either that one or multiple hangers where it's talking to a reference plane or to a level above. But what if I really want to go in here and actually customize a couple of these hangers along here? Let's grab a couple for fun. I want to fully adjust this. Well, instead of scrolling through trying to figure out what parameter it is to make a customization to, open our advanced settings. Here's a full UI of what that hanger actually looks like. Let's go ahead and turn on that center rod. Let's also detach these different tiers from each other. Click Save. Those hangers are now updated automatically. Let's go into a little more detail here. Maybe we need to make a little bit more of adjustments here. Click onto it. You have full control of adjusting your center rod spacing, what size rod it's working with, what strut it is. Let's maybe turn the bottom strut into a double strut or an angle iron double strut, 1 5/8. The rod offset from element. Maybe maybe this rod here is hitting a piece of duck. I need to move that over a foot. Cool, no problem. Let's click here. Let's move that over a foot. And then let's take this and move this to 1'5". Click Save. Again, all the different controls that you have available are all on there. Instead of scrolling through and trying to find what parameter controls what, we gave you a nice picture of what that hanger actually looks like and fully controlling and adjusting how those hangers look. Again, I can take this, I can nudge this over, move that one over. Full control of these hangers. So now we've placed a ton of hangers along here. Actually, let's just do 1 minute of, well, I'll try to do 1 minute. Ductwork, same thing. Click onto it, window select your stuff, click Finish. Instantly picked up my sheet metal system I clicked on here. No problem, click Apply. Go ahead and place all those hangers along that run. So I selected this run here, it's going to do that run, and that one run along there. Speed is what we were looking for, but also I wanted to be able to move and adjust things along that run. Let's also do this run. Click Save, Apply. It's basically turn hangers on is what we're trying to create. For you duck guys, we did the exact same thing with the couplings and stuff. So if I were to move that over, no problem. Let's move that over. Let's tab select. We'll use the optimize length native Revit command to put in all the different couplings along that run, your straight pieces. But duck guys hate putting in hangers because if they were to move this over to here, they're going to get a warning message. What we're working on is getting that to automatically do that. Is I want to suppress those messages because why doesn't Revit do that for you automatically? It's little things like that that make a detailer's life so much easier and save you time. So with all those hangers that we've got placed, let's click on to our hanger manager. The hanger manager is basically the source of all the information about all the hangers that we have placed currently in this project. In there is our hanger settings. Here is where we've created a full customization for your hanger naming. So for your single rod hangers, let's name them a certain way. On my last call, we just did one where I wanted the spool name added in there. Let's remove that. So I have level underscore abbreviation, hanger abbreviation, rod size, rod length. Hit the little plus button here. Here's all my different parameters I can choose from. Level, text, I want a dash or an underscore. Parameters, here's all the different Revit parameters that are available for your hangers. We can add more to this as an example. These little dots allow you to grab and move stuff around to control that string. So now, automatic naming. It's been naming all of the hangers based on this rule or these settings this entire time. If I want to do number increment, what's my abbreviation for my different tiers, group anything that has the same dimensions. I want to do my rod length rounding. Anything that's in blue is editable. So I want to change that. I want to go to nearest 2-inch, 4-inch for my rod length. My rod to rod spacing, how far do I want those to always be? Oh, snap those to the nearest inch. We're going to add in soon, as well as your strut spacing. I want my struts rounded every 2 inches and so on. Basically, set it and forget it. So I can click all these and let's say auto rename. So every one of these is now updated and now been renamed based on those rules. So you can see we've got all of our trapeze tier 2. It's pulling in the services that are assigned to that. So I can go in here and let's check out the 3 rod that we made. Yeah, here we go. So we expand this. Here is the full bill of material for these hangers. We know tier 1, tier 2, the structure of it, the length, the rod offsets for each of the tiers. Remember I mentioned earlier about the point loads. How are we going to be able to do that? Notice that every hanger knows what every pipe is associated with, as well as down to the trapeze on what elements are on what tier. We know there's 2 2-inch copper hangers on tier 1 and 2 of them on tier 1 and tier 2. That way we can start getting proper point loads in the near future. Your rod sizes and everything. All of this is easily able to be exported to a CSV file. The other thing also is I want to see a quick drawing of that hanger. Hit the little button here. There is an actual drawing of that hanger. We're going to be improving this a lot more, allow you to create your own title block in here or use your own title block in here and customize how the data looks on here. But with it, matter of seconds, boom, there is your actual drawing for that hanger. I need to make a total of...
Michael?
Go ahead, sir.
As we're looking at those, what elevations do we report out for hangers? So top of struts, do we do bottom of pipes?
Yep, exactly. So we click onto this here. For example, for trapeze, we're also reporting tier 1 and tier 2, the top and bottom of the actual strut of where they're actually at. That's taking into all the consideration here of your, if I click onto that pipe, you can see the middle elevation of that pipe is 10'3". The bottom of the pipe is at 10'4". So it's actually figuring out the exact bottom of where that pipe is at. So we actually have all of that data on there for top and bottom of that pipe as well, and the bottom of your actual of the hanger. We need to add that to the UI of this, but that parameter is available on there. The way we built these two, since they're not families. So this is version 8.0. When we release 8.1 or 8.2 and so on, when we add enhancements, there's no versioning of the content. It's just just install our latest version of our software. All those hangers now have the new functionality that's on there. So we also solve the endless problem of dealing with, is it version 4, version 13 of that hanger and that piece of content, and switching out which hangers are all in your model. Direct shapes are going to change the way Revit and BIM users can actually make content. Unfortunately, you need someone that knows how to write C# code for that. So, Jimbo, I think you're unmute us. So here's some keyboard stuff. Okay. No, you're good, bud. Thank you for answering all those questions. You're the man. So again, and then I can click onto all of these here, hit export to PDF. All of those drawings will then be exported. In a coming future release, this is also going to be the gateway for sending all of our hangers to our fab software for our BIM to fab to field workflow that we're going to create for the industry. It's going to be great. Next question usually comes up is, well, what are my points? How do I get export points out of here? All of our points all of our hangers contain points already on here. So I go to my BIMPRO point manager. This is recently rebuilt from the ground up. I'll go full screen with this so you guys can see everything we have on here. So on the right hand side, there's a little hamburger button, group by host. I'll turn that off. This is showing you every single point that's currently in the project, every hanger that's in there. If you group it by host, it's actually grouping it by, well, what point is inside of that hanger. So it's grouping it by the actual hanger name itself, which is pretty cool. So if I scroll through here, you can see every hanger name that we have on here with every point, even as you get down to the trapeze and the tier 3s and the tier 2s. So there's that hanger and then with the 2 points inside of it. Here's that other trapeze with the 3 rods and those points inside of it. X, Y, and Z, these can easily be moved around to change what order you want them to be exported as. For our hangers, it automatically fills in the rod size and the upper attachment. It automatically defaults to a hanger point. I have full control of controlling what the status is of that point. We do handle also nesting our family point inside of any of your own custom families. The host is just describing what the actual family or hanger name that's inside of. Export date, that gets filled in automatically when you export these points. The layer automatically fills in the system abbreviation associated to that element. I can go up here and say, all right, I want to filter this by hanger type or hanger points. And then I also want to filter this by maybe by hosts. I can go in here and see different types of certain hangers I have in here. Now, if I want to name all my hanger points in here, I can simply click this button here, click renumber, and prefix. All right, name these hanger 1. Maybe this is level 01, and then we'll do another dash. Starting number 1001. Renumber by sequence. This is great. If you're in say a 3D or a plan view looking straight down, and I pick, all right, let's number it from the top left corner, going from left to right, and going from bottom down. Oh, I can't annotate on this. So it'll find the top left corner point and go from left to right and number your points in some kind of chronological order along in your view. Row order, simply point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4 along your grid. And then view selection allows you to actually click onto it. I like sequence number, simply click apply. Every hanger is now being numbered with those different points. I click close, click onto this hanger, go to the properties, because usually there's always a question of, well, is there a shared parameter? I want to tag on my plan view those points. Here it is, M hanger point description and the point name and number. So what it basically did is, again, we're going to see a top plan view here. It found this point here, which is point 1, point 2, point 3. I'm looking at it right here. So you can see what it was doing is it's following that along that path, those hangers. From that point manager, easily be able to now, well, I want to take all those. I want to export out, let's actually just do our hanger points. Grab all the hanger points in my active view, maybe my only current selection of view or my entire model. What's my coordinate, precision, units? Great. Let's click export, and I can easily export this out to a CSV. Yeah, maybe also include a CAD file, a 2D view of this view as well. Click export, points are then updated. Click save. Field points are now being exported as a CSV. Now when I expand this, you'll see exported date also has the time and date of that stamp that's on there. And that's also going to a shared parameter that's stored in that object. So there's your full workflow, hanger placement. You easily place them, set your rules, full control, being able to move these around as I wanted to. Also, if I wanted to deal with no hub piping or sloping systems, that works great with this stuff as well. I'll start drawing in the no hub system on here. If there's any other questions, Jimmo, that are coming along that anyone needs to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton. I'm working on one side here. One question I think maybe we're going to take into a feature request, though. There was the ability to place on a fitting or on a transition, and I think we're going to have to maybe look into that and explore that a little bit more, but I'm thinking they want to place it exactly on a fitting, possibly to help with a heavy load.
Gotcha. So that's probably for the duct side, so you probably want to be able to place it actually, probably not this exact scenario, but I want to place it on that fitting. Another one was there's always a request for I want to be able to place it on an elbow on a piece of duct. So great Yeah, well, the way we set this up is as our customers are giving us feedback, able to add that on here. What we wanted to show today is where we're currently at. And then these are actually designed for us to get more feedback and help us drive that roadmap on what features and functionality and more content that is needed from our users. But the way, again, the way we set this up is designed for rapid growth. And so really looking forward to seeing more customer feedback on other things that they want. Hopefully that answers that question, sir.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
Um,
I'm not sure if I maybe will see any of these questions.
Let me see. It's unique. Any tools to support unique instances where you can easily get to the deck or steel, have to hang from a trapeze around an obstacle. So where are we headed with our avoiding ducks and stuff like that?
Exactly. We had some good feedback as well a couple calls ago where I think I did show this before where, hey, we did have some duck in the way here and I wanted to go avoid that. So like I said earlier, I want to be able to make some kind of automatic clash detection that makes it a little bit, man, I wish you can just do that, right? As a coordinator, just be able to move that duck out of the way. But yeah, I want to be able to click onto that hanger and I want to adjust that. And that's where rod offset, again, I can say, all right, let's move this over. So maybe it's another foot over to the right, move that over. So you do have the ability to manually make your adjustments. We've had feedback on, well, what if I wanted to have, what if there was actually, where is it, this one here? I want to hang from that same, the duck already has a hanger on it, and I want to hang maybe these two single rod hangers onto that same piece of metal. We're calling it internally like a Triple H, hang hangers from hangers. So another great feedback from customers that we want to be able to do. I don't like workarounds, but the kind of the idea is you can draw a reference plane and then tell these hangers here to the nearest structure and connect those to the reference plane. But we want to be able to actually say, like Triple H, yeah, I want to hang hangers from that hanger. So being able to quickly say, for that whole run and all those hangers above me, grab them all and say hang onto that. So features along those lines we're looking for. There's a ton more I would love to be able to show you guys that we're currently working on as well. What else we got? Yeah, let's just grab all this duck and say hang. Yeah, we went through very high level of the hangers. I also have another command for automatic dimensioning. We have some productivity tools that also help you draw and edit stuff. Cool. We just did that whole floor above with the heating hot water. I was going to draw in here. This is a switch this. Let's go ahead and say draw this up at a 1/2 inch. Going to quickly just draw in some no-hub and just show you guys how the no-hub systems work really well with this. And let's just make sure that this is sloped correctly.
And one more question I think would be good to cover because I haven't talked much about it. Electrical. Are we doing conduit straps? What are we doing with electrical there for those guys?
Yes, we actually, good call. There's so many different categories to choose from. Yeah. So actually, if we zoom in here, let me turn off the duck so we get a little less stuff in here, the pipe. Before we jump into that, actually a fun fact to show on here. What category, since they're not families, what category do they go under? These are actually pipe accessories is what we put them under for when it goes to a pipe. If it goes to a duct, it goes to a duct accessory. If it's a conduit, I believe it's the conduit fitting. We went for every possible variation. To me, those are probably my favorite ones to use because it still works really well with your view range. So I have my pipe accessory. So if I wanted to hide this system and that pipe, I can make a simple view filter, pipe accessory, M hanger system abbreviation. So I can easily turn off and hide stuff. All of this also gets exported to your Navis software. So a lot of cool controls. So basically what I'm doing here is like I'm going here to say turn off the pipe work, but then go to pipe accessories and turn off my pipe accessories as well, because that'll turn those off. So I did throw in here, just for fun, some out-of-the-box conduits in here. So hanger rules, exact same concept. I threw together like a fun little rule here where it's like, yeah, conduit and a conduit. So when you click onto the category of conduit, you basically able to make a simple little rule here where it's like, well, what are you looking for? Well, if the type name is equal to conduit or something. Or is there a system abbreviation, some kind of factor to help you determine what type of conduit or pipe that it might be? These are just all of your type and instance parameters associated to conduits. Same thing for regular pipe and stuff like that. Here's your single rod hangers. Here's your adjustable conduit clamp. And then for my trapeze, same thing. It's very much the same type of functionality, but you're just kind of controlling that. And then here's your different clamps that you have on here. You can pick which one you want. EMT for conduit clamp. Click save, close, set your rule. And now when I come in here and do my trapeze, click save. And it's now going to place trapeze along that run. And again, we want more feedback as you come along with this and more functionality and things you guys are looking for. But at its core, it's still the same kind of logic and functionality behind it. So, yeah, here we go. What else we got, Jimbo?
Are we looking at wall and floor penetration placement on our roadmap?
The walls, you said?
Wall and floor penetration, sleeves, rectangles, things like that. Rectangular cutout.
Yep, that's something that we're looking at doing. We do have full control here. Sorry for zooming too much to get you guys sick. We do have our own point. So this point is just not the revised one. The M field point. That point can be placed anywhere in the model, so I can just copy and place those wherever I want, or I can nest that, which is adding that inside of a family. So I've made a simple concrete slab here, move those around. So those can be also nested inside there for your points. We're thinking about looking into possibly doing a sleeve tool, but right now we're focusing heavily on hangers and helping you guys solve that workflow for hangers and your upper attachments and which ones you want on there. We'll be greatly expanding the catalog of upper attachments, as well as adding in our new DeWalt Tough Wire will be coming out very soon, as well as more and more content as our customers feed us more information. Oh, I need this type of a clevis and so on. But yeah, like I said before, the conduits and stuff operate the exact same way, kind of the same rules. Pick your clamps and stuff, and then we're setting up a portal for you guys to be able to submit in content requests and more functionality that you guys are looking for.
I got to tell you guys, this is probably one of the most lit webinar chats
Let's
I've
go.
seen. I'm for real.
Am I able to see this?
You go.
Oh,
yeah.
Jimbo, all right, now I see. I'm catching up with you guys.
Y'all are killing it there. I do want to put this on the screen if it's okay, because I promised I would.
1 second. There was one question. Roadmaps up there. I just saw the seismic. That's something. Yeah, we want to do. It's on our roadmap to do point loads, seismic. I want to get anything that has an anchor on it. So like wall supports. We want to, as DeWalt, we sell a ton of those different upper attachments and those different anchors that go into your structure. So anywhere that it needs an anchor, that's where DeWalt wants to come in, and as MSUITE want to come in and help you guys with a product like this to help you specify those actual anchors. So yeah, seismic hangers. I want to stay away from any engineering calculations, but I do want to provide you the ability to place a seismic kicker and adjust the angle. Is it a cable or is it a strut? Change the angle and all that fun stuff that comes along with it. But hopefully that helps with some of the stuff that we're working on. A little teaser on roadmap stuff, but yeah, Jim, contact our sales team, set up some more calls. We can do some more deep dives into where we're going with this and get you guys working with us. Misty, that's all I got. Thank you.
Awesome. Love it. Listen, I don't even want to stop you. They're loving you, Michael, you know. We got
Yeah.
to have another one for sure one of these days here. All right, so I'm going to put on the screen here. If you guys are interested in a free demo, you can click there on the screen. You can also answer in the poll questions that you'd like a free demo specifically on hangers. We'll get you connected with the right people. If you are joining us on demand and you think of any questions after the webinar, you can always submit those at webinars@graitec.com. Thank you, Beckett, for fixing that. He's got the correct spelling there. So I just want to thank you all for joining. I hope it was meaningful and impactful for you and your businesses. Michael, Jimbo, are there any closing statements that you want to give your fans here as we close out the webinar?
I've got a cool one that might show off about someone had a question regarding spooling. I can show for 1 second here, a pretty cool thing, but I also want to do a closing statement.
No, do what you think. Go ahead. They're here for you. Let's show them what you got.
Yeah, I just made a simple spool. Our tool allows you to grab onto stuff. And when I say, hey, I want that to be a spool, I'm not going to grab the hangers. But I'm going to say, I want that run to be chilled water supply number 2. It's going to grab anything between those two. I didn't add them to we're using Revit assemblies to do our spooling, but the idea that we're doing this, yes, you can add those to a spool and do all your special schedules with that. Look at it from this different standpoint. Let's do this. As I said earlier, when you do your hanger naming for my single rod hangers, let's add in spool name and let's drag this over. I want it grouped by spool name. Let's get rid of the level. So I want spool name and then that information about it. Click apply. Let's expand this and say auto rename. Think about this. Every hanger knows what every pipe it's associated with. So therefore, we know that that hanger is associated to that pipe. That pipe is on this spool. So therefore, without the hanger even being in the assembly, it automatically found those elements and named them part of that spool already. So they're not in the actual Revit spool, but if I click onto them, go to the properties, it's coming up with this with the spool that they're actually a part of, but not being in the assembly. It's a completely different way of thinking about it. What that allows you to do, your spool is designed for your piping or system for that drawing. But then what we want to be able to do is then I can make a schedule for all of those hangers or even send it to our fab software. So a little bit different way of, instead of having all of your hangers be a part of a spool for that drawing, we now have a drawing automatically here with the full build material for that spool. Here's those 2 spools, those hangers. I need 9 of these for that hanger. And we'll get you a little drawing soon of that little cool clevis and everything. But a little bit different way of thinking about where we can go with this. Same thing with our packages and everything else too. So we kind of cracked the code on where we can go with Revit. So hopefully that answers a couple Revit questions, and then I'm done with that.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, I'm going to grab all of these questions. I'll send it over to you guys because they've really got some really great questions. Maybe we can even post a FAQ from this webinar because it really was fantastic. I want to thank you all for being so engaging and having fun with us today. I do hope it was meaningful, impactful for you and your businesses. Michael, I'm going to steal you back for some webinars. I think you did a fantastic job. So thank you. Jimbo, you jumped in with all that support, so we're going to have to steal you too, but I want to thank y'all for joining us as well. We hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you all on future webinars.
Thanks, guys.